In this first part, we are going to define the notion of refugee. Following the Geneva Convention of 1951, a refugee is any person fearing with reason of being persecuted because of his race, his religion, his nationality, his membership of a certain social group, or his political opinion, and that is outside the country of which he is national or which he has his habitual residency, and who can't claim the protection of that country or become back in the country and ask then the protection of another country. In international law, the right of asylum is considered as a last right when all of the other ones were not respected. Following the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the right of asylum is universal and unconditional. Furthermore, the Geneva Convention goes further with the proclamation of the principle of non-refoulement that forbids to send back refugees in a country where he risks to be persecuted. However, this convention does not impose any binding mechanism in order to respect those principles. At the end of 2019, the UN Refugee Agency counted 26 million of refugees around the world, around half of whom are under the age of 18. With 3.6 million of refugees, Turkey is the first host country in the world.
With 6.6 million people, Syria is the country of the nationality of the majority of the world's refugees. If Turkey is the country that hosts the most refugees in the world, it's largely due to its geographical position on the border with Syria and at the gates of the European Union. In 2011, on the occasion of the Arab Spring, peaceful demonstrations are taking place in Syria due to the political and economic situation in the country. At this time, the Assad family has been in power for more than 40 years, and the country has been kept in a state of emergency since 1963. In addition, 30% of the population lives below the poverty line. Social uprising, largely repressed by the security forces, quickly turned into a civil war between government forces and anti-Assad rebel forces, joined by jihadist groups and financed by neighboring countries. The emergence of the Islamic States in 2014 will cause an internationalization of the conflict. A coalition led by the US and the European military powers, based on Kurdish forces, will fight against Daesh, while Russia and Iran support the regime, officially also to fight against the Islamic State. After 10 years of conflict, the war is still going on. It has left more than 500,000 dead and millions of refugees fleeing the atrocities of war, including bombing, chemical weapon attacks, massacre constituting war crimes and crimes against humanity. These forcibly displaced population are many from neighboring countries, especially Turkey. While many Syrian refugees see Turkey as a transit country to the European Union, many of them are eventually forced to stay there because of the strict controls at the EU's external borders and the agreement between the 28 and the Ankara government in the context of the migration crisis in 2015.
In return for generous financial aid, Turkey was to act as a border guard on European territory. The intention of the European Union was to meet social and economic, but also political requirements. Indeed, immigration is a subject instrumentalized by the populist force that has success on xenophobia. The agreement is a comprehensive plan to reduce migration to Europe. The two main pillars are the return of migrants, mainly Syrian, to Turkey, as well as to avoid the opening of new migration routes toward the European Union. In return, the Union offered a financial aid of 6 billion and allowed Turkish citizens to enter the European area without visa condition. Europe has turned refugees into a commodity that Turkey regularly used to achieve its political goals, such as putting pressure on European NATO members to get their support in the fight against the Syrian regime.
Initially, the agreement was effective and well implemented by the Turkish authorities, but 3 years after its entry into force, only 1,843 migrants had been sent back to Turkey, whereas the text provided for up to 72,000 returns. Unfortunately, the situation of refugees stranded in Turkey is far from improving in 2020. Faced with the COVID-19 pandemic declared in February 2020 all over the world, the Turkish authorities feared a major health crisis in the face of the 2,000s of refugees housed mostly in camps in the countryside, mainly on the border with Greece. Consequently, these camps were dismantled and a mass evacuation took place in March. 5,800 asylum seekers were sent back to detention centers in remote provinces of Turkey.